afternoon. It is I, the Terrorific Lady, otherwise known as Brandy, and we have a very special guest here today. It is Robin Block, who is the CEO and executive producer at CreatorVC. And you may recognize that name because they've done stuff like In Search of Tomorrow, In Search of Darkness, the 80s, and the upcoming In Search of Darkness, the 90s. And he's also here to talk about something very exciting, The Thing Expanded. So Robin, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on, and thanks so much for being such a supporter of our work. We really value that, and I know that our director David Weiner has been on your show before, and all of that. When you're an independent production company trying to serve an audience, we need all the help we can get. So yeah, very grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit just about CreatorVC for those who don't know, like how it came to be and what you do there besides a CEO and executive producer.
So I started CreatorVC almost 6 years ago. It'll be 6 years in May. And we kind of specialize in um, genre-based faction entertainment. So I would say we're probably the world's leading genre-based faction entertainment company. We've had, I think, 7 releases now. The Thing Expanded will be our 8th or 9th project that we're doing. We've been kind of prolific. We hold the record for the highest grossing crowdfunded documentary ever made. In Search of Darkness, which isn't the highest grossing one. The highest grossing one is In Search of Tomorrow, but it has 17,000 backers. But In Search of Darkness is one of the most successful independent documentaries ever. And as you mentioned, we're in production right now for In Search of Darkness 90 to 94, which is going really well. And I think that the way I would position us is I feel like we're in our own kind of league. Our tagline, if you want, is fandom with purpose. And so everything we do is hand in hand with a fan base. So our job is to create a premium entertainment experience for a niche audience. So our work's kind of polarizing. Either you really love it or you're just not interested in the subject. So whereas some companies, they'll make a project for Netflix and that might, they might be trying to reach 1 million people. We're really speaking to between 5 or 15,000 people, but those ones that we're speaking to are really engaged. And yeah, it's been an amazing ride over the last 6 years. Really proud of the team and what we've accomplished. And this expanded format that we've developed, which is almost like the opposite of what an In Search of Darkness is. And for those that don't know, In Search of Darkness, it'll be a mega long documentary, 4 or 5 hours long, where we'll tackle a whole decade of horror movies and we'll just skip from one to another. And it's like nostalgia overload. And it's a lot of fun. People play it all the time. People have had tattoos of the artwork. People use it as a bit of a comfort blanket. They just, if they just want to escape, they'll put it on and get lost in it. But the kind of opposite of that is the expanded format, which is what we developed to focus on a single IP. So that could be a movie, a game, and our first expanded documentary is Aliens Expanded, which we started in 2022. We're in the final stages of post-production. I'm so excited. It gets released to backers in May this year. I think it's like one of the best things we've ever done. And that whole development of Aliens Expanded was done hand in hand with the fans, like every element of it. And just to sort of give you a little insight into what we did with Aliens Expanded is we went out to all the people that ran all the big fan bases for Aliens and said, look, we want to make this documentary about aliens. We want to basically imagine the movie on your video timeline, but it's in 3 dimensions and you've got like a virtual camera flying into scenes, deconstructing them. So the expanded documentary format the documentary starts at the beginning of the film and we go through all the major scenes and it ends at the end of the film. And then we go off on tangents and all sorts of stuff. But we use this sort of visual chronology of the movie to keep coming back so we know where we are. And I'm so excited about the release of Aliens Expanded because it's not just been a documentary. We've had a whole year of exclusive events with like cast members, crew members, experts, interactive vidcasts. So for the backers on that project, the thousands of backers we've got for Aliens Expanded, it's been an incredible journey. And we sent out a 5-hour rough cut of Aliens Expanded to about 200 backers back in December, and it came back with some of the highest ratings we've had for one of our projects at that stage. So I'm very, very excited about it. So that's coming out. That's, nearly there. The film's pretty much there. And now it's time to turn our attention to what the next project is. So strategically, as a business, we've decided to double down on horror. We feel that there's so much amazing material to unpack and remember and uncover in the horror. And also the horror community, the horror audience, the horror fans are very receptive to work that speaks to them. So the next expanded documentary we want to create is The Thing Expanded. And the reason it's The Thing is because in order for us to be able to do something very special with a film, the film has to have something very special. And The Thing does. The Thing has truth. The Thing has density. It has complexity. It's also simple in some respects as well. And what's amazing about The Thing is you've got this projection for 20, 30 years now of fan theories,
Yes.
unpacking, analyzing every sequence. So we're coming at this film from the fans, and we want The Thing Expanded to be a manifestation of that fandom. And it's going to be a hell of a journey because we're going to have this whole series of live events all the way through the production life cycle. We really want to bring together super fans of The Thing and create something that's really intimate and that speaks to you, and that you either will look at it and go, I have to be part of this, or you won't care. And that's kind of where I want to be.
Okay, you are answered like a question that I was going to ask. It's just like, why The Thing? But what do you hope that this documentary will show? Because like you said, there's so many different fan theories like out there, and it's just like I would think it would be hard to figure out, okay, what are we going to talk about that hasn't already been talked about like 1,000 times before?
Well, I think that it depends. I don't think everything has been talked about, and not to all the fans. There's definitely, if you look at the beginning of the internet to where we are now, probably everything's been talked about. But our goal isn't to, it would be brilliant if we found out some amazing insights that had never been told before, but that's not our goal. Our goal is to take something you love and extract even more value from it. Our goal is to take something that inside out. Like I could talk to you about any scene in The Thing without it playing on the screen, and we'd both be seeing it in our heads, right? And there's something about the collective consciousness about a movie that really sticks with people, that enables you to do that. Like straight away, we know what we're talking about, And I've got this theory about films. Great cinema and great art are the same thing. And I think that you never see the same film twice, right? So there's this sort of famous saying, which is, the same man doesn't step in the same river twice. Or same woman, or I should probably say same person. But like, I first watched The Thing when I was 6 years old, right? And it blew my mind. I have a very visceral memory of the chest bursting kind of scene in that. But I also watched it 3 weeks ago at a cinema in London at the age of 46. And I relate to that film at the age of 46 in a very different way than I did when I was 26. And great cinema has that capability to grow with you. So every time you revisit that movie, you see something new. You are new. You aren't the same person you were when you saw it last. And that for me, one of the marks of great art is that it grows with you. And The Thing is a film that grows with everyone. So, well, grows with everyone that really loves it. And that's why people love it. And so, jumping around a little bit, my job is to ensure that when we do a project, there is enough demand for it. Like, we're not going to make something that no one's going to show up for. And so where we are in the process is really embryonic, but I've got a really clear vision of what I want the backers to experience. And I at the end of this documentary, when you watch it, the first thing I want you to do and want you to feel is that you must rewatch the thing. And when you rewatch the thing, you'll see it in a completely different way. And therein lies the value, I think, ultimately, in what we strive to accomplish with our projects, is we want to take something you know and make you love it even more.
That definitely makes sense. And I like how you mentioned that we're not the same people when we last watched the thing that we are today. Like, I try to remember when I last watched it. It was actually just like a couple weeks ago. I'm always just like revisiting it. It's always like my go-to whenever I'm looking for something to watch. And yeah, I'm always just discovering something new. It's like, well, I didn't notice that. Like, I didn't notice that either. So yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense.
It's interesting. I mean, the fans have projected so much onto this movie. There's so much every week. I mean, on Google Trends or Google Insights, I have a kind of tag for the thing. So whenever a new magazine article comes out talking about the thing, I get pinged, and I'm getting pinged every week. It's still relevant. People are still unpacking it. And so I want to look at this movie from the perspective of the fans. And I want to start at the beginning of the film. I want the beginning of the thing to start at the opening shot. And I want the end of the thing expanded to finish at the end when it's just Charles and McCready, and I want to talk about, well, what happens next? And I want to go through that entire film with you and unpack it, but in the most interesting, entertaining way, with the best people in the world talking to you about it. For me, we were fortunate enough to interview John Carpenter at length about the thing, and I interviewed Keith David, who was fantastic. But my white whale on this project is Rob Bottin.
Yep.
So, for me, and look, you've got to respect the man's privacy, but like, I want to make him an offer he can't refuse. So,
Like
like,
Godfather.
yeah, like, sort of, but I really want to make a play for that. I also want to get Quentin Tarantino in this. I feel like this is the opportunity to give this film its flowers, to revisit this film 40 years on. And it's interesting because I think that one of the reasons, like, Brandy, every person that I'm having these conversations with is kind of on the same page with this movie. Like, there's some unifying force with people that love the thing. That, number one, means they're very cool, right? They're like the best horror fans. It's like, if you really love the thing, it says something about you, And I, I want to revisit this movie with that community in mind. And I want to take us all along on this new journey to understand it in a different way and to remind ourselves what's amazing about it. And what's interesting is that I think part of the appeal is that it's an underdog movie. Everyone's familiar with the fact that it kind of, I wouldn't say flopped, but it didn't perform at the box office. It derailed John Carpenter's career. I think he never recovered from that experience. And it took 15 years for the thing to find its audience. And it says something about art and life and challenges. And now it's a movie that is universally revered. I always sort of, I never try and say, well, this is the best horror film ever, because it's such a subjective opinion. But, on the Mount Rushmore of horror movies, The Thing is there. And what I love about that movie is that it doesn't have any fat on it. It doesn't waste any time. It gets straight into it. It's interesting. I've got a story for you. About 3 weeks ago, I went to the British Film Institute, the BFI in London. Magnificent cinema. It was a Saturday night, 4K presentation, huge screen, packed cinema on a Saturday night for The Thing. And now I went there and I was like, well, I know I'm going to do a project on this, so I'm going to sort of rewatch it with a critical, I'm going to be a bit, I'm going to have my critical hat on and be looking for things
Yeah.
Well, I didn't, because as soon as the first frame, as soon as you're put in the Antarctic environment, you're locked into the film. And none of the performances feel like performances, they feel like actuality. It has this authenticity to the performances and the pacing where you're just sucked in. And I was witnessing, and I've seen the film, I've seen the thing like a million times. I was listening to people in the audience who had never seen it before, who were reacting to the more visceral moments. And I was like, wow, this film that's 40 plus years old now still retains that power. And it amazed me. And it amazed me that it was a packed cinema on a Saturday night in the middle of London for this 40-year-old movie. So we know it has some very special elements. And I think it's going to be so exciting diving into it. And so where I am with this process now is right at the beginning. Ideas are at their most vulnerable when they're embryonic. And I've never done what we're doing before, right? Normally, I mean, I don't really do a lot of interviews. I'll push the director out. David Weiner does a lot of interviews when we're doing In Search of Darkness. I kind of stay in the background, but with this process, it was really important to meet other fans and listen to other fans, and that's why we've got this survey. Survey's really simple. You've taken it.
Yes, I
And we're
have.
just listening. We're just listening. I want people to project what they want to see into this, because the next step after doing that survey, which will be in a couple of months' time, will be we will come back to everybody with a synopsis, and we want that it'll be like 4 or 5 pages on a Google Doc, and we want that to be peer reviewed by the fans, and then we'll come back to you with an amended version, and that'll be our roadmap for the documentary.
That's just so cool that you're engaging like that, that fans are being engaged. It's like as that level, like we're being asked to take the survey, we're being asked to give our feedback. What other roles do you see the fans playing in the thing expanded?
There's two things. A great question. And I want to do, with each project, I want to improve, right? So, sitting here right now, I would say the best execution of a project by CreatorVC has been Aliens Expanded, because every step we took worked. Like engaging the fan base worked. We created an advisor circle, and the advisors were made up of people that ran the big fan communities that were super fans. We worked with them on the synopsis. We sent the synopsis out to thousands of Aliens fans. We revised it. We messaged them and said we've revised it, and then we went into our pre-sale campaign and hit our numbers almost exactly. And then we've gone into production. We're now in post, and even sending a rough cut out just before Christmas to about 200 backers, which is very scary for us. Came back with some of the best scores we've ever had, and all the way through that process, like every month, we've been having live events with cast and crew from Aliens coming in exclusive for backers where they can ask questions, and it's kind of a hosted Q&A. And we've had some of the people that run the dedicated podcast for Aliens come in and do Q&A. So it's been this sort of massive indulgence for fans that's lasted over a year, and I really love that process, and I want to build on it. So with the thing expanded, these are ideas right now. So if someone screen captures this in 6 months when I've dropped an idea, then I'm sorry. But one of the things I want to do is I'm meeting so many people who have podcasts or shows and just want to express how they feel about horror movies, because I've seen what you're doing. You've popped up on my radar a whole bunch of times, and like I feel that you are like the best of horror fans. Like it's you have to express yourself. It's part of your identity. It's part of your passion. And although with the actual documentary, there's almost kind of a line. We don't want to put fans in the actual film because we want everyone in there to be sort of known. But I believe that one of the things I want to do is have this digital extension where if you go to insearchofdarkness.com/the thing, don't do that right now because there's nothing there, but there'll be a whole wall. There'll be a whole wall of insights from Brandy, people like you, other hosts and podcasters and experts talking about why they love it. And so that's a new element that I'm wanting to include in the experience. There's also, when we make a documentary, realistically, going over a 4-hour runtime is really hard. It becomes difficult. But we end up with like oodles and oodles of footage, sometimes hundreds of hours. And we want to edit some of that and put it up online as well. So that's what's different. I mean, one of the things in Search of Darkness 3, we, for the first time, asked our backers to send in videos that we could cherry pick some of the best ones and put them in the credits. And people still talk to me about that. I still get messages like, I just watched In Search of Darkness 3 and it was so cool seeing like backers in the video, in the credits. That's something now that we do with all of our projects. So we're trying to double down on the intimacy between the experience we're trying to create for our backers and our backers. So we don't care about Netflix. We don't care about, I mean, Shudder sometimes puts our stuff up and that's really nice, but Shudder's like a nice to have. They're like way down the pecking list of priorities. We want to create something that is unique to backers, that if you sign up to one of our projects, and it's up to you if you want to be fully engaged, but if you're fully engaged, you're going to get incredible value. And that'll be a period of your life that you'll never get back, where you can indulge in something that you really care about. And that's the goal. And I want to get better at doing that. So taking this back to the survey, this initial survey is the first part. And we've put out a few social media posts. We've got around 80,000 backers at CreatorVC. And we haven't even sent them an email about this project because we've got other projects coming up and we don't want to overstimulate people. So we're not going to talk to them about it until May. So right now, I'm just working, not undercover, but like this is like my side hustle at the moment, building this up, having these conversations. And the fact that, a couple of days ago, we hit over 500 survey responses, right, really surprised me. And that's the signal that I want to see. That tells me there's demand. That tells me, Robin, you need to put more investment into this process so you can really bring everyone together. That's a long answer. Every time you ask me 2 questions, I've talked for 25 minutes. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, like when I saw that there was going to potentially be a documentary about the thing, I was like, yes. I got so super excited about it because and then also just the potential for it and just the potential for fans to be able to participate in the ways that you described. It's just like, I'm there. I'm all there.
What I've noticed, I remember when I started work, this is the power, without sounding woo-woo, like I really believe in the power of like manifesting your ideas. So I'll talk to you about an experience I had. July 2018, in my notepad, it was a moleskin notepad, just like this, like I'm writing today. I wrote down the title In Search of Darkness, and I started jotting down like a Venn diagram of what I had in my head and what I wanted to, literally with pencil, and who I wanted to be in it. That was July 2018. In October 2019, I was in Hollywood at a packed 600-seat screening at the Egyptian Theatre, on stage with icons from 80s horror. And that's how quickly things can turn around. And that event and that franchise changed my life. And early on in the development of In Search of Darkness, I knew I was onto something because people were writing to me, emailing me, important people, relevant people, way more, above my pay grade, right? And I was like, wow. And it was really, that whole experience was like a dream. And I'm getting similar vibes with this. People, I mean, I put up a post saying, hey, if there are any podcasters out there, they want to chat about the thing and what we're doing, like, and I'm doing 20 of them, right? And it's sort of, and it's like, and it's nothing to do with me at all. It's to do with the fact that the thing is like the bat signal. It's exactly as you described. You go, oh, the thing, like,
Yes.
and it's sort of, and so that's a huge responsibility for me in CreatorVC, because we need to deliver something that can in some way match the enthusiasm. You know, we have so much respect for that fandom, but that's what we do. That's what we're built to do. So the purpose of these kind of conversations this early is to get excited about it, because nothing's off the table at the moment, right? And that's what's great. This is like the best part of the process, okay? Because there's so many challenges you have to overcome to get one of these projects out. You know, you have to get the fundraising, you have to sort of then get through production and then post, and you know, you're really at war. But when it's embryonic, it's very, very exciting. So my question actually to you is, what would you want to see in the thing expanded?
I would really just like to see this why it resonates with so many people. I'm a very big why person. I have to know why someone likes a certain thing and why it resonates with them, that personal connection. So that's what I would really hope to see. It's just like, why has this movie just resonated so much with so many people?
We get that a lot. I mean, one of the things about doing a survey, and what you have quantitative data and qualitative data. Quantitative data is like the demographic, like what's the male to female non-binary sort of relationship, where do people live, how old are people. It's quite interesting, so I can share some of the stats with you if you're interested, but it's 86% men at the moment. So anyone who isn't a man, please fill out the survey and kind of make it a bit more balanced. And 75% of survey respondents are over the age of 36, which is interesting because that's a really good age, because I think it's a generational thing. Although I was on a podcast earlier today and the guy was 31, he said, I'm the outlier. I'm the outlier because I'm only 31. Yeah, statistically you are, but you do start to see patterns. And one of the key reasons that we do this survey early on, without asking tons of really difficult, detailed questions, is we're just listening. We're actually just looking for patterns. And so, you know, nothing's off the table. You know, one of the things that has come out from the survey already is that we want to relook at the practical effects. You know, we want to look at the references, so the impact that movie, the kind of trickle down effect. And great art does this, because great art, you see it time and time again repurposed. You know, at the time of recording, you know, I don't know if you're watching this, but it's the new series of True Detective with Jodie Foster.
I've heard of it and I want to watch it, just haven't had the chance to yet.
I'm really enjoying it. It's not perfect, but I'm really enjoying it. But it's they've taken whole lines of dialogue out of the thing and repurposed it. There are characters in the series that are referenced to characters in the thing. I think it crosses a line past homage a little bit, because it's a bit too much. It breaks the third wall because I'm a Thing fan. But you know, you see all the other movies that have been referencing this movie, you know, and that's how you know it's great, because you know, great artists still. So one of the things that's coming through the survey right now is like, people want to explore, what has the thing influenced? What's the kind of, you know, 40 years later, we can actually say, look at this landscape that this movie has helped develop. Another one is the kind of socio-political elements of the thing, you know, the allegory for AIDS, the paranoia, all of those kind of things as well. And there's so much in terms of kind of filmmaking, technical filmmaking, pacing, that we want to talk about from a kind of almost analytical, nerdy horror filmmaking kind of perspective. And so we want to bundle all of those things and maybe ideas we haven't even had yet into this experience.
Yes, I am super excited. I know it is in its baby stages, and I just like, I want it to happen this like right now, but I know that all good things come to those who
I
wait.
can give you an idea of the schedule,
Yeah.
right? So we're in February now. We've got a 3-month window, May, June, July, to focus on this project as a business. And July is the month that I've earmarked for when we'll do a pre-sale campaign, which is, if we deliver the pre-sale campaign in July, I think we can deliver it for the end of 2025.
Oh, so in essence, with that timeline, not too far at all.
Not too far at all, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, now, how can people out there who are listening to this, how can they stay connected and involved with what's going on with the thing expanded?
Thank you for asking that question. It's really two things, right? Follow at Thing Expanded across Facebook, Twitter, Twitter X, and Instagram. And the link in each of those bios for those platforms just takes you to a Google form. You've taken it. It's really simple, but it's really going to help us. And by doing that, we then get your contact information. And what we can do is come back to you in a couple of months with our first synopsis. And that'll be really key. It'll be like 5 or 6 pages on Google Doc, kind of setting out the roadmap of what the thing expanded is, what we want it to be, and what we want it to be based on what we've listened to. And then we want you to peer review it as a fan base. You know, tell us what you like, what you don't like, and then we'll come back to you again with a revised one. And that's the kind of roadmap that we'll work with when we move into a pre-sale campaign. So all the way through this process, it's about dialogue. So if the thing is one of your favorite movies, if it speaks to you, then you should be part of this process. It doesn't cost anything. We're listening, and you're not wrong, right? Whatever opinion you have about what you want to see in this project is correct. And it's our job to try and find patterns in that and deliver on it.
I love how you said that, just you're not wrong about how just open to anybody who's the biggest fan in the world of the thing to participate, and that's very appreciated. Thank you for saying that. Now, one last question. Like, how big of a fan of the thing are you? Because I've got so much like collectibles and stuff like that. This is like one of my pride and joys. This is my baby.
Right. So I knew you were going to show me up at some point, right? Okay. So I'm going to lose this challenge. However, I do have a few props. Okay. So
I've got to see him.
okay, I'm not wearing my Thing t-shirt because it's in the wash, but I've obviously got my Blu-ray. I need to get the 4K pretty soon. I've got my Thing mug from Last Exit to Nowhere. That's the UK merch people I get stuff from. But because I've been researching and building an advisor circle, I've been sort of getting all the books on the thing, and I've had some great conversations. So this book, which came out last year, I don't know if I'll just put that, that's Phil Hoare. Really great, really nice read, gives you a lot of context. He's going to be in our advisor circle. And I had the most wonderful conversation with Jez Connolly last week. Here we go. Yeah, Jez Connolly. This is a great book. Who's also joining the advisor circle. They know these movies inside out. They have their own projections. And yeah, there's so much stuff. I've actually, you know what I want to do? I want to get one of those things. I've got one for Aliens. I can show it to you.
Yeah.
I don't want to sort of disappear. Where do I put it? Here we go. I want to get this, but for the thing. I picked this up at a convention. I think it's really neat. It's like a film cell.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so I want to get that, but for the thing. Oh, I've got the game as well.
I did too.
Yeah.
Outpost 31.
Yeah, no, my one is the Xbox one.
Oh, yes, I played that.
Well, it's interesting. We'll definitely be touching on the game because the game is, and we'll be touching on the prequel as well. What do you like the prequel, the 2011 prequel? I like it.
I'm not the biggest fan of it. I mean, I think it's okay, but it's more just because like I'm more partial to the 82 one.
So my dad, who's in his 70s, he likes the Thing, the 82 version, but he loves the Thing from Outer Space, the Howard Hawks one, and he loves that one. But I'd love to watch, and I need to do this. I've never done it. I need to watch the 2011 prequel, followed by Carpenter's The Thing, followed by the game. because the game picks up where the thing ends, and it's a bit of an Alien 3, because McCready pops up alive and Childs is discovered dead. So you kind of like, oh, it's a bit of a downer actually. But some people don't consider it canon. So there's this wider universe around the thing that I want to touch on as part of this project. The prequel. And I know it's much maligned, but I watched it again recently and I enjoyed it. I see past the limitations, I see past the CGI. It was always going to be inevitably a near impossible act to follow, right? But because I love the thing so much, because I'm really invested in the reality of that film, anything that attaches to it suddenly becomes better. So I would say for me, I can't play the thing, the computer games, it's too difficult, right? So I have to watch retrospectives on YouTube that tell me what happens in the game to enjoy the game. But I do because I'm invested in that universe. And it's the same with the prequel. Like there is a story, it links neatly to the thing. Like it's sort of there's that continuity that I like. There's some good performances in there. There's some good actors in there, and um if you said to me, would you rather not have it? Would you rather it not exist? No, I want it to exist. It doesn't need to be perfect. I want to interview the director. I forget his name now, actually. But I've seen interviews with him where he acknowledges the faults in his film that were out of his control. But I genuinely believe he went into that with the best. He wanted the best. It was he's the same as us. He loves that movie. And sometimes when you're creating stuff, it doesn't turn out the way you want. But I'd rather have it than not.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I definitely see that point. Also, like, I would rather have the video game than not, even though it sometimes makes me want to bash my head against the
Yeah.
wall, like every time I play it, because it's like it's so hard. It's so hard. And I also kind of a side note, I have to stop myself a lot of times from buying like any merchandise or any like collectibles that have to do with the thing. Otherwise, like I'm gonna buy them all. I got something on back on my wall. It's kind of hard to
Yeah, I can
see.
see the Drew Struzan
Yep, and
poster.
yep, my poster. And then also I had a thing made with a blue LED light that is Blair's computer screen.
Oh,
Where it says,
wow.
yeah, it says projection. If intruder organism reaches civilized areas, entire world population affected 27,000 hours from first contact. Yep. So I've got his computer screen on my wall.
Well, like you are the ideal customer.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
no, but I love the computer screen animation. I love how that feels. I love the nostalgia. I love the the controller. I love Adrian Barbeau's voice.
Mhm.
Like it's sort of we interviewed her actually for In Search of Tomorrow, but it's yeah, what a film, and it's conversations like this that I will sort of leave, and I'm higher than when I started. And going back to what I said earlier about making ideas real. I am not CreatorVC. Everything we do as a business, as a production company, is a collaboration. Really, to the point with how we're funded, because we have to use crowdfunding, we have to use pre-sales. Backers need to have confidence that when they put a lot of money into a project like this, that they're going to get, value back. And that's why having the opportunity to come on and talk to you today is really important, because every time we do something like this, it's like you're climbing a mountain, and we're at the beginning, we're sort of looking up going, God, there's a long way to go. It's a bit frightening, but the more of us that are together that want to make this happen, it will become real. And we've done it many times now, but I'm here at the bottom looking at the top of the mountain going, but that's the new challenge. I want this to be the best thing we've ever done.
And when you go up that mountain, just make sure like you yodel, just like all the way up.
There'd be a ton of yodeling. Yeah.
Okay, so as a reminder, if people want to get involved, have their voices heard, they go to @ThingExpanded on Instagram, and there is a link on there to fill out the survey.
Yeah, it's the same handle at Thing Expanded across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That's where we're on at the moment. We'll eventually have a dedicated landing page with videos and a synopsis in a couple of months for you guys to all have a look at and feed into as well. But this is very much the start of a relationship, the start of a dialogue with the fan base, so we can build something we can all cherish at the end of it.
I already feel like so warm and cozy and excited to like be a part of this and to see just like its development from beginning to end. So once again, Robin, thank you so very much for coming on and talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure, and congratulations on the growth of your channel. Like I said earlier, you're on my radar, and it was as soon as I got a message from you, I jumped on it. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Yeah, you too. Take care. Bye bye.